Everyone taking Ozempic or Wegovy is losing weight, but there is a number buried inside the clinical trials that nobody on social media is talking about. In the Step 1 trial, people on semaglutide lost an average of 15 kilograms. That sounds like a win. But 6.9 of those kilograms were lean mass. That is 45% of the total weight lost. Almost half. Not fat, muscle. So the question is not whether GLP-1 agonists cause muscle loss. They do. The real question is why, and whether the gym can actually fix it. GLP-1 receptor agonists work by mimicking a gut hormone that signals satiety to the brain, slows gastric emptying, and suppresses appetite. The result is a dramatic reduction in caloric intake, and that is exactly where the muscle problem starts. When you are in a sustained caloric deficit, your body faces a protein allocation problem. Dietary protein drops because overall food intake drops. Insulin levels fall. IGF-1, the downstream anabolic signal from growth hormone, also declines. And all three of these variables converge on the same molecular target, mTOR1.m. TORC1 is the master switch for muscle protein synthesis. It integrates signals from amino acid availability, energy status, and hormonal input to decide whether to build new muscle protein or not. When you suppress caloric intake aggressively, mTOR signaling goes quiet, and when mTOR goes quiet, muscle protein synthesis slows below muscle protein breakdown. The net result is muscle loss. This is not unique to GLP-1 drugs. It happens with any aggressive caloric restriction. But there are two things that make the GLP-1 situation worse than a standard diet. First, the appetite suppression is so effective that protein intake often collapses disproportionately. People are not choosing to eat less protein. They are simply not hungry. And muscle does not care about your intentions. It responds to the amino acid signal, not your goals. Second, the rate of weight loss is faster than most people have experienced before. Faster weight loss means less time for the body to adapt, and typically a worse ratio of fat lost to lean mass lost. The tirzepatide data from Surmont, one actually showed better numbers than semaglutide, with only about 26% of weight lost coming from lean mass versus 45% with semaglutide, but 26% is still significant. And a recent large-scale analysis of over 670,000 GLP-1 users published in 2026 found that tirzepatide actually caused greater lean body mass loss than every measured time point over 12 months. More weight lost, but more muscle lost too. Now here is where training comes in. And the answer is more complicated than the gym bro version you have seen online. Resistance training activates mTORC1 through a completely separate pathway. Mechanical tension on the muscle fiber triggers a signaling cascade that bypasses the nutrient and hormonal inputs. The muscle senses physical load directly. This is why resistance training can stimulate muscle protein synthesis even in a caloric deficit. The mechanical signal essentially overrides part of the energy restriction signal, but there is a critical catch. Training creates the anabolic signal. Protein provides the raw material. If dietary protein is inadequate, TORC1 activation from training has nothing to work with. The factory is running, but there are no materials. You need both. The practical implication is this. If you are on a GLP-1 agonist and you are not doing structured resistance training at least twice a week, you are almost certainly losing significant muscle mass. And if you are training but not hitting a minimum of 1.6 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight daily, the training stimulus is partially wasted. The pharmaceutical industry already knows this is a problem. In 2024, multiple companies began pairing GLP-1 drugs with muscle-preserving agents targeting myostatin, activin, and mTOR pathways directly. That tells you everything you need to know about how serious the muscle loss issue actually is. GLP-1 drugs are genuinely powerful metabolic tools, but they were not designed with your muscle in mind. That part is your job, and now you know exactly why. If you want to understand how insulin resistance specifically affects your ability to build muscle even when you are training hard, that video is next.